here today with my good friend Adrian Chapman. I'm not sure he likes everybody knowing he's a good friend of mine, but there, it's out there. He is Mr. Furminator himself. The man is an expert on food plotting equipment and food plots. And today, we're going to pick his brain on what I feel is perhaps the biggest challenge in food plotting besides being able to make it rain when you want. And that is, how do we deal with grasses? And what I'm talking about is, you can't see this, but right now we're looking out upon a grass field that has never been mowed. If we want to go ahead and plant this, how does one do such a thing? How do you go into these grounds that have never, ever been broken with thick grasses like this to this tall and actually successfully create that food plot without driving yourself absolutely insane or broke in the process? Adrian?
Well, Steve, I certainly don't know all the answers, but I do know that in today's world, if you're serious about food plotting, you need to learn about spraying. There are lots of chemicals that can make that process much easier. If you spray and give this grass time to die, dry out, whatever you use to plant it, whether you use to break up the ground, whether it's a Furminator or something else, will have a much easier time of it than if you've got all this wet, heavy thatch sitting on top of it.
I'm going to interrupt here for a second. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The problem we have with getting our discs to break this type of sod isn't the sod. It's the grass that's that thick sitting on top after it's been knocked down.
It makes a mat that the disc will not cut into, or very hard to cut into.
With the ATV unit, Furminator, you can jack it so all 800 odd pounds are straight down on those discs, and I've done it. I have done it, but oh man, getting all that in the part that a lot of people don't realize is it's not just that you need to break that dirt. If you've got all that grass sitting on top like that, you got to, in one way, shape, or form, incorporate it in the dirt in a way that is not so filled with duft that the water just runs right through and creates a good seed bed. And that is in order to pull that off without removing that grass, you gotta work it hard over and over and over and over until you work that much grass straight into the dirt. You go ahead and you spray it. Now what?
Particularly if you can wait till it dries out, it will make everything a lot easier. Give it time to die and dry out. Come in. A lot of times if you run your disc straight, you will cut into the dirt and cut some of the sod to where when you come back with a more aggressive cut, it'll roll the previously cut dirt, turn it over and start that process, and then even adjust your disc more aggressively after you've got it turned over to chop up those chunks of sod and everything and try to break it up into a nice even seed bed. And if you have a cultipacker or a drag, pull it behind it as well to help smooth it out before you put your seed in there.
Well, and you just hit something that I want to stress a little bit more because it is so key. You need to actually turn that sod. That's how you get that grass incorporated. If you didn't have a chance to spray, it is mission critical. If you've had a chance to spray, it is still important because you need to you either need it all on top and enough and not so thick that your seedings can't break through, or you need it incorporated in the dirt. This much stuff sitting on top of the soil, it ain't gonna cut it.
Right.
It just plain isn't.
Final thoughts, brought to you by Huntworth.
Let's pretend that you don't have sufficient time to let that stuff break down. Okay. Heck, you might not even have time to spray. Could you get away with mowing and getting the grass off?
Yeah, we've done that before. You mow it, and then particularly if you got a landscape rake or something you can hook to the back of the tractor, you can pull it all to one side and expose short grass, which you can then turn over a lot easier. That all that tall grass laying over makes an impenetrable mat, and if you can get it all off to one side, it can speed up the process. If you don't have time to wait on chemicals to do the work, you can do it mechanically.
Although there is, as I said, don't do this if you don't know what you're doing, please. If you do not feel comfortable and or trained, understand the safety issues, please don't do what I'm going to suggest, but you can always burn it off too.
We do that a lot down south, and it works very well.
That works very well. And at the same time, you're adding some nutrients in the soil.
Yes,
by
sir.
doing it as well. Beautiful, Adrian. I really appreciate you making
Thanks,
us all
Steve.
a little bit smarter today.